Dragon Ball wasn't just a series, it was a cultural phenomenon that laid the groundwork for all future shonen animes to come after it. Considering this is a One Piece channel, I want to take this opportunity to highlight some of the ways that Toriyama and his series Dragon Ball not only inspired but also paved the way for mangakas like Oda to write their own masterpieces. The main topics I want to cover are the protagonist, the supporting cast, and the story arcs. And if you stick to the end, I'll tell you why One Piece is the true successor to Toriyama's legendary series. So let's get straight into it. To understand the effect Goku had on Luffy, we need to look at the tropes that Dragon Ball pioneered, which are now staples in the shonen genre. Most notably, the concept of transformations, power-ups, and named attacks. The most iconic transformation of all time, Super Saiyan, and the most iconic named attack, the Kamehameha, birthed so many new abilities in many series. In One Piece, Oda pays homage to this with Luffy's multiple transformation like Gear 4 and Gear 5, and with the plethora of Luffy's Gum Gum attacks as well. Oda doesn't shy away from the fact that he's inspired by Dragon Ball, since he even made Luffy go Super Saiyan in his latest fight versus Kaido. Both Goku and Luffy embody the archetype of the pure-hearted, extremely powerful hero. They share traits such as innocence, a bottomless stomach, and a strong sense of justice. They are not swayed by desires of wealth or fame, but rather remain focused on their goals. They also don't stand for any sort of BS when it comes to their friends. No matter how the odds are stacked against them, they will stand up for their friends no matter what. This is evident most notably when we see Goku being pushed to new heights when Krillin gets killed. And in the case of Luffy, we see it with Nami in Arlong Park and even with Robin in Enies Lobby. In both series, the protagonists also have a mysterious ability to influence the people around them, oftentimes turning characters that would be considered antagonists to allies that join and support them. In Dragon Ball, this is seen early on with the likes of Yamcha, Krillin, and Vegeta, where they undergo a significant transformation after encountering Goku. This is also the case with Luffy, so much so that in the Great Marineford arc, Mihawk goes as far as saying this.
その場にいる者たちを次々に自分の味方につける。この海においてあの男は最も恐るべき力を持っている。
The influence of Goku on Luffy is not only obvious in their character traits, but also in combat and training. Early in their journey, the two icons were mentored by powerful old men who taught them the ropes and helped them get stronger. Master Roshi trained Goku and taught him the basics of martial arts, as well as his patented Kamehameha attack, while Rayleigh trained Luffy and taught him about the different forms of Haki. Luffy also exhibits traits of Zenkai, which for those of you who don't know is a genetic ability specific to Saiyans that allow them to become more powerful than they previously were when surviving near-death situations. This is best observed in Luffy's latest fight against Kaido, where Luffy gets dogged and knocked out not one, not two, but 3 times, and each time he came back stronger than before. Luffy isn't the only one that draws inspiration from Dragon Ball. Even though it's not as evident as it is with Goku and Luffy, a lot of the Straw Hats also share similarities with some of the Z Fighters and other supporting casts from the Dragon Ball world. For starters, Zoro and Vegeta are characterized by their unwavering determination and relentless pursuit of strength. Both are the very embodiment of hard work and tenacity in their respective groups. Nami and Bulma are both intelligent, resourceful hunters. Nami primarily sought out treasure and berries, while Bulma was after the Dragon Balls. Both are the female leads in their groups and are responsible in helping navigate their crew. Nami does so with her expertise in maps and weather patterns, while Bulma achieves the same using her technological prowess creating spacecrafts and radar. Usopp can be seen akin to Krillin. Both are somewhat considered on the weaker end of the group. They are often shown to be anxious and scared in the face of confrontation with powerful foes. However, when push comes to shove, they step up and get the job done regardless. They also both had rough upbringings. Usopp was ridiculed by the people of his village, while Krillin was bullied at the temple he was in prior to joining Master Roshi. Sanji and Yamcha share the role of the hot-headed, flirtatious members of the groups, although Sanji takes it to another level. Chopper has some similarities to Puar in that they're both the adorable mascot-like characters within the group, bringing a charm and whimsy to their adventures. Now this next one might be surprising, but Robin and Piccolo are quite similar as well. For one, they are both introduced as antagonists before joining the main crew, and in terms of personality, they both serve as the calm, analytical voice within the group, providing insight and strategy amidst the chaos. Frankie and the androids are the mechanized characters in the group. However, they differ drastically in terms of personalities. The androids, 17 and 18, are more serious and sinister. Frankie, on the other hand, brings eccentric energy, but at their cores, they share the same purpose, which is to challenge the traditional notion of humanity by showcasing that even machines can possess hearts and souls. Last but not least, we have Brook and Master Roshi, the two eldest of their groups. Not only are they able to share their wisdom, but they also add some much needed comedic relief, not to mention that they're both perverted as well. Dragon Ball's influence goes beyond character parallels and bleeds into story arcs as well. Although I can probably talk about all the arcs, there are two in particular that stick out in my opinion: Skypiea and Dressrosa. One of the most prominent tropes popularized by the Dragon Ball series is the tournament arc, which have now become a staple arc in nearly all mainstream shonen animes, having drawn inspiration from the martial arts tournament Goku participated in from a young age. Series such as Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and even Fairy Tail all have their own tournaments take place. And One Piece is no exception. A big part of the Dressrosa arc was a tournament that was held for Ace's Devil Fruit. Although the format of the tournament is a little different, where in Dragon Ball the fights were one-on-one, in One Piece they were a free-for-all battle. Another thing Oda added was Luffy's disguise, called Lucy. He had Luffy do this to keep his identity a secret while participating in the tournament. This is very reminiscent of what Master Roshi did, where he disguised himself as Jackie Chung and entered the tournament in order to test out his students at their full strength without them knowing. Now, as much as I love me a good tournament arc, let's move on to Skypiea. In my opinion, I think the Skypiea arc is a nod to the Namek saga in Dragon Ball Z, since they both have so much in common. So let's break this down. For one, the missions are the same. They set out in search of something. In the case of One Piece, the Straw Hats wanted to find the City of Gold and uncover the truths of the Sky Island. In Dragon Ball Z, the fighters wanted to find the Dragon Balls. Once at their destinations, they face similar antagonists as well. The godlike Eneru rules over Skypiea using his lightning Devil Fruit and his servants to maintain control, while Lord Frieza takes over the Namekian using his powerful ki and his army. Both these antagonists were surrounded by a group of their strongest fighters. Enru had the God's army, while Frieza had the Ginyu Force. I think in terms of inspiration, the Namek arc has been quintessential in laying the groundwork for most One Piece arcs, as they all follow the same structure. The base premise being exploring a new island and having to face an unexpected foe at said island. And the Namek saga is unique in Dragon Ball, as that's typically not the structure of Dragon Ball sagas. For the most part, the Z fighters are met with a new villain that they vigorously trained for in order to take down. Namek was the first and only arc where they went out exploring and had to unexpectedly defeat Frieza in the process of their adventure. And that's usually how the Straw Hats journey goes. Given all the things I just presented, it's easy to see that Eiichiro Oda draws significant inspiration from Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball. Now, the low IQ thing to do would be to accuse Oda of simply stealing and copying Toriyama's work, as the people who do this aren't equipped to deploy any critical thinking whatsoever. But for us normal folks out here, if you've seen both shows, you can see that Oda not only gets inspired by Dragon Ball, but he adds his own twists and expands on it. I would go as far as to say that out of the big three, One Piece, in a way, is the true successor of Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball at its core, when it initially started, was an adventure series with a blend of action and comedy. Although as it progressed further into the story, it became more serious, it never lost its comedic touch. And that's exactly what One Piece is, an adventure shonen filled with action and comedy. Oda makes it such a point of emphasis to maintain this lightheartedness even in the most serious situations. A perfect example of Oda taking from Toriyama while making it his own can be seen with Luffy's transformations. He adopts this trope of character transformation that Toriyama started, but he stated that he hates how serious power-ups and transformation can be. So what does he do? He tries to make them as goofy as possible. And this can be seen with Luffy's Gear 4 and Gear 5, which caught a lot of flack from Twitter trolls, but that's because they don't understand this one fundamental difference between Oda and other popular mangakas. Oda even stated himself, and I quote, "One Piece is a deliberate subversion of Dragon Ball due to its significantly more complex tale and characters, whereas Dragon Ball is a manga renowned for its simplicity. One Piece takes everything that so many enjoyed about Dragon Ball but takes it further. The world is more expansive and the lore is richer, the characters are more intricate and have more meaningful backgrounds and roles in the story, the relationships within the characters are deeper, the power system in terms of devil fruits and haki is slightly more complex as well." And this by no means is a knock on Dragon Ball. If anything, it's the opposite. Dragon Ball being what it is and being as good as it was is the very reason we can have a One Piece or a Naruto. And even though it might not look like it at first glance, the impact of the legend Akira Toriyama is not only ingrained in our favorite series today, but it will continue to inspire millions well into the future. Although Toriyama might be gone, him and his work will never be forgotten and are forever etched in history.